welcome back to the After Hours podcast. Daniel here with Joey Prohaska, and we are joined today with unknown caller out from Chattanooga, Tennessee. And you guys are a special type of bar. Can you tell us a little bit about your establishment?
Yeah, man. So we're just a small cocktail bar in Chattanooga, Tennessee. I guess kind of speakeasy-ish. You enter through a little black phone booth. And yeah, we do cocktails as our thing. We just like having fun over here.
Absolutely, absolutely. How long have you guys been in operation?
We just did our 2-year anniversary, December 27th. So yeah, just over 2 years now.
Congratulations. And how has that been with COVID going on?
It feels a lot longer than 2 years. It's been a challenge, look, for sure. It's been a challenge, but we've adapted really well, I think. And we're just hanging in there, man. We're surviving. That's all we can ask right now. We're just trying to keep going.
And hopefully it's going to get a little bit better now with, the vaccine coming out, and hopefully things will start to get back to normal and everything. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, fingers crossed, man. Yeah, that's the hope right there for sure. Yeah, we'd like it to get back to normal, whatever that looks like in the future.
So James and Kris, have you guys both been with Unknown Caller since the beginning?
Yeah, since the very beginning. James is the sole owner and operator of the bar, and I started off as a bartender 2 years ago, and here I am, the only original staff member left.
Really?
Yeah.
So one question I'm very curious. What was the inspiration behind the concept of your bar?
Oh, good question. I don't know. I don't know if there was a sole inspiration. I'm pretty boring, man. I like drinking booze and I like going to bars. So every city I go to or travel to, the first thing I do is go on Google cocktail bars, or I've already got some lined up that I want to hit. And I'll go to those bars and enjoy that experience and kind of make notes. And what do I like? What do I think could be different, etc. And I've just pulled all the inspiration from bars that I've really admired over the years and kind of put all these different little elements into our bar. And it's kind of just a conglomerate of ideas that makes this really weird, quirky little space. I think the way we operate as well is in a European sense. We're not a food bar kind of thing. You come here for drinks and we got a little snack for you later on if you get a little tipsy, which is often the case. But we're not trying to do a full food concept as well as a bar. It kind of leans back to that British sense of the pub, you know? When you go out to the pub with your mates, you might get a packet of crisps or some peanuts along the way, but we're just doing some drinking.
Right. And now, so Joey, you've been out to the bar. I have not. We're actually all in separate locations right now. So I'm really curious to see from Joey's perspective. Joey, how was the experience going over there?
Oh, it was great, and I kind of wanted to touch on that, Dan. So we were in Chattanooga for the night, actually going down to Sarasota, Florida, and we made the stop there. And we were kind of looking for some bars in the area. And actually, I don't believe Unknown Caller showed up on the map, but then we were just kind of walking down the street, and we seen this little red telephone booth. And then we just walked in, and it was just like nice little atmosphere. You guys have great great seating arrangements. You guys had great drinks for everybody. I mean, I know there was a $5 list of drinks all the way up to, some more like expensive and top shelf drinks. So what was kind of the inspiration behind like the telephone booth opening?
Really, it was a way to remain kind of anonymous, I guess. Kind of just a vehicle. I really wanted to have a secret hidden entrance so that when you got through that small opening of the door, you came into the vast expanse of the bar, and it's like entering into an otherworldly place. Like you're in Chattanooga, yes, but we're in the business, I feel like, of escapism. You're trying to escape the day-to-day stresses and problems. We want to put a really tasty cocktail in your hand. So I really wanted to look just like a normal place or nondescript place from the outside. And then once you're in here, you've gone to a different place.
And I feel like it's almost ironically the best way to get yourself out there, because when you think about it, like, you don't want your business to be anonymous, right? No one's going to find it. But then, like, when some people find your anonymous business, it's almost like a secret, right? And everyone is really bad at keeping secrets. So in that sense, everyone ends up telling all their friends about you guys' place.
Yeah, man. And honestly, like, we're living in a day and age where social media is king as far as marketing is concerned. We don't do a whole lot of marketing outside of that. And honestly, to James's credit, he won't tell you this, but he is an Instagram savant. He has single-handedly grown our following from 0 to basically 8,000 followers in a city like Chattanooga within 2 years. So yeah, social media is the name of the game these days, and we've just played really heavily toward that.
Was your guys' like original goal to kind of be like, since the name is unknown, did you want to be like kind of unknown, kind of like, oh, come and find us and then you'll have a great time?
Long story, mate. So actually, we didn't start off as unknown. We started off as London Calling.
Okay.
We changed the name after a year, and then for the unknown thing, for sure, it was a sense of stepping into the unknown, I guess. And yeah, we look at the sales report every day, and to this day, we're doing 70% of our guests are brand new. So we are still truly unknown in this city and then further afield in the United States. So we thought we'd just play into that. We're unknown and embrace being unknown. And then when people like yourselves stumble across our bar and they have a great time, that's just what we're in. That's what we're in the business for. By the way, that's our favorite way that guests find us. When they tell us that they've just stumbled across us, that's our favorite thing to hear when they come in and they have a blast.
Yeah, it's just, like you said, a very interesting experience as you're just walking down the road in Chattanooga and you're like, oh, this is a telephone booth, but it looks sweet.
Oh yeah.
It's almost like one of those things where, because I know this is definitely a thing in Cleveland, where if you go to the wrong area, then like you're not you'll find your typical bars or restaurants or whatever. But if you're a local, you'll know those secret spots where okay, this is where you go to get some really good Polish food, for example. Like your typical person outside might not know. So like it's almost taking on that kind of thing where it's like, if you're an outsider, you might not necessarily know about it unless someone kind of gives you the heads up. But I mean, I guess for Joey's side, that's not even the kind of case for that. But what's cool is you still get that feeling of like, oh, I'm inside of something that's like secret that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah, man, it's definitely got a little bit of that Narnia magic, for lack of a better term.
Yeah, I love it.
No,
James, you mentioned you were in Fayetteville and actually had been to Maxine's Tap Room. Have you been in a lot of different cities kind of in the food and beverage industry?
Honestly, I've not traveled a lot in the US. I've actually traveled a lot of the southern states and some of the Northeast, but I've never been out west. But yeah, I've traveled a lot around the world. When I finished university, I traveled for a year, and then I've had 2 separate sabbaticals where I've gone off 15 months and 10 months at a time around the world. Whatever city I'm in, I seek out cocktail bars. It's my passion. I love it. Yeah. It intrigues me. Every bar is different, does things differently, and I just love witnessing and watching it and sitting across the bar from someone.
Do you have any favorite cocktail bars?
Yeah, I think for us, the gold standard has got to be Attaboy. We're super close to Nashville, and we're so fortunate they opened their second Attaboy in Nashville. Unfortunately, we got hit by a tornado early on in the year, in 2020, of course. But that's our gold standard, man. The way they do things, the quality of their products, but then they're just so humble. There's no egos there. I love it. That's probably the gold standard for us.
So would you say like that's what makes a good one of the things that is kind of required to make a good cocktail bar, or like what are all the things that typically go into having that really good cocktail bar?
Oh man, so one of my favorite things to tell most of our guests is that at Unknown we take what we do very seriously without taking ourselves seriously, and I think that's a huge factor, especially in the cocktail community today. We're seeing a trend toward a more laid back, casual vibe with upscale drinks. Whereas 10 years ago, you only associated high-end cocktails with very high-end establishments, suit and tie kind of places. Whereas that's no longer the case. We're getting more and more away from that and more to a place where you're having neighborhood cocktail bars pop up. And that's essentially what we aspire to be here in Chattanooga.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think cocktails can be really intimidating for the average person. Obviously, we're in the industry, but we're in the minority. The average person comes into a bar and sees a lot of bottles that they might not know the names of and what they are. And they see a lot of things on the menu, like a shrub. What the hell is that, man? I don't know. It's being open. The lack of pretense is something we've always talked about. So yeah, it's a high quality product, but we're welcoming that guest in. We want to make, help them find the right drink. We don't want to be not available for questions and then end up with the wrong drink in their hand. And I think as well, just creating that vibe of comfortability. We talk about comfortability a lot here. When people step through that second secret door, we want you to feel at home. We want you to feel like you're in a different place and you can just relax. We're going to take care of you.
I love that. And you guys kind of, I feel like, do a really good job of kind of getting like, I know there's a younger crowd there, but also like the Sue and Ty crowd there as well. So it's like, I feel like you guys did a good job balancing that out for Unknown Caller.
Well, thank you very much, man. Yeah. Thank you. We try. We've had like guests up to like 92 years old in here trying to tell us to turn the music down, and then obviously we get a lot of younger guests. So we definitely get a diverse crowd in here, and that's our whole thing here. It's an eclectic bar, from the music to the art and whatever else, and also the guests we have. It's an eclectic crew.
Being in a city like Chattanooga, are you guys close with a lot of the other bar and restaurant owners in town?
Yeah, I think we try very hard to, maintain good relationships with our fellow industry folk. We've created a industry specific menu for our hospitality industry friends. Things like, a $5 boiler maker that gets you like a pint of Miller Lite and like a shot of whiskey. So we've come up with different little deals here and there to put together for our industry friends. We know that at the end of the day, like, they're also a huge asset for us. They're also out there sending people our way every single week. So that's why it's always important to have those relationships in town, no matter where you are.
It's a pretty tight-knit community here. I will say, coming in as an outsider looking in, so to speak, arriving, being embraced by the community, and yeah, we kind of all know each other. I'd like to call it a large town rather than a small city sometimes, Chattanooga, because you go behind any bar and one of your friends is working and they'll take care of you. It's very much like that.
That's great. And kind of going off of that, what were you guys both doing before Unknown Caller? I know you kind of touched on it briefly.
What are you doing? I was working over in Ottawa, about 30 minutes away from downtown Chattanooga. I'd been kind of bartending out there for a few years and kind of felt like the clientele wasn't necessarily open to drinking things that I wanted to be making at the time. So I personally was looking for, more of a challenge. And then I was working a whiskey festival one day, and that's actually where I met James. And he told me he was going to be opening up a speakeasy in town. And then a few months later, I saw the application and sent it in, and here we are today.
Yeah, I guess for me, I've been in the hospitality industry since I was 14. I was a dishwasher, I should say, at the local pub, and I worked all the way through university. After university, I went to get the big boy job, so I worked as a technology consultant. I fucking hated it, man. I hated it. So I had this grand idea in my head. I wish someone had told me no. Oh, wait, they did. To open this bar. I had this grand idea, kind of saved up for a couple of years, got the business plan together. And then when I arrived in Chattanooga, finally just went straight at it, found a space and got to work.
Love it. Usually we ask what you would be doing if you weren't owning a bar, but it seems like this is what you would be doing regardless.
Probably, man. It might be somewhere like Barbados or the West Indies on a beach somewhere, listen to some reggae. If I was going to open another one, that'd be pretty cool. Can we swear? Is swearing allowed, I'm assuming?
No, don't you fucking cuss. I swear to fucking God.
Okay, all right, cool. I've been watching my language this entire time.
I can tell he has as well. He's been like, yeah, oh dear.
Most of our audience is actually other like bar and restaurant owners and people like higher up in the food and beverage industry. So there's not really anybody under 18 that listens to it. So you're all good.
I figured that when I listened to a couple. By the way, you're doing a great job. I really like what you guys are doing as well.
Thank you so much.
We appreciate it. So going back to Unknown Caller, why do you think that Chattanooga, Tennessee is a perfect home for Unknown Caller?
It's such a growing city. So when I'd visited the city probably, I'm not from Chattanooga, Tennessee, by the way. I'd visited the city probably 4 or 5 times and seen what they had going on here. And it was definitely a sense of optimism, a growing city, and it still is. And I think that kind of matched our timeline as coming in as kind of, I'd never owned a bar, a novice bar owner, and finding our way. We're kind of finding our way at the same time the city is finding its identity. We've done the same as finding identity as a bar and matching that to the crowd of people we have in the city. What would you say?
I think what Chattanooga has going for it that makes it special, especially right now, it's such a central location. We've got Nashville super close to us, Atlanta, Knoxville, Birmingham, Asheville, like Charlotte, even New Orleans. These are all cities that aren't as far away from us as you would think. So that right there makes Chattanooga a huge destination for out-of-town visitors, especially in the Southeast. And it's just a beautiful town. You know, it's a valley. You have this river that runs through it. You've got bridges, parks, all kinds of outdoor stuff, and a really up and coming food and beverage scene.
And do you plan on expanding elsewhere? Do you want to have more establishments, or do you want to have just this one?
I think this is just this one for the unknown kind of brand. I think it's such a special place. I don't know that it would scale up and keep the same personality that we've kind of cultivated here. So probably just this one. There are other plans, I think, down the line, but not with this concept. Yes, I think, to just add to that, I mean, we tried so hard and poured so much into this, and finding really high quality bartenders like Kris, they don't just grow on trees. Yeah. Yeah, it really is a challenge staffing up sometimes to keep the quality of products and obviously hospitality that we want to see. And that's the challenge with a cocktail bar in a smaller city like Chattanooga, for sure. We do really try and train internally and give people the knowledge and the tools to be as good as what Kris is. But it's a tough aspect of being in a smaller city versus a place like Nashville or Atlanta. Let's say cocktail bartenders it's probably more of them, I should say.
And it's just one of those things where, owning one business is hard enough, but then to have multiple, because like not only is it like, yes, it's double the work to have two different establishments, but then on top of that, there's like a whole new communication issue where you have to make sure that they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. And it's just there's so much that goes into it that I feel like a lot of people generally aren't aware of.
Yeah, for sure. And Kris, he'll tell you, I'm not the best at letting go sometimes.
I was told hire slow and fire fast.
Yeah, honestly, I've never heard it put that way, but holy shit. Yeah, that's the name of the game.
Yeah, and kind of going off of what James had said and Daniel as well. We've heard a lot of bar and restaurant owners that it says it takes them up to like 5 to 7 years before they get a good set of 6, 7, 8 people that have stayed for a while and are like really, really good.
Well, that's definitely encouraging to hear as like a younger bar, because I mean that is a challenge, is creating that team, getting the right pieces in play and pieces that work well together in the space that we have. There are a lot of moving parts.
We've been super fortunate so far. We've had some really talented people come through the doors. And again, in this small city, Kris mentioned it earlier, we really do have a large hospitality, food and beverage sector in Chattanooga for the size of the city it is. It's really impressive to see the cocktail scene here.
Is there a lot of collaboration that goes on between the different bars and restaurants, or is there like a lot of communication between everyone?
I wouldn't say not as much, but that doesn't mean that I don't think it's not headed in that direction. Mm-hmm. I still think we're very much seeing like the beginnings of the cocktail Chattanooga like movement. Not saying that there hasn't been a movement here for years. No, there has been, but like it's becoming more proliferated. Like you're seeing more and more places pop up with more people moving here, looking for job opportunities. So I think we are on the cusp of seeing a lot more collaborations starting to happen between places, especially once we get past COVID.
Absolutely. And like, I think me and Joey can kind of relate to being in Toledo, just from the people that we've interviewed in the local area, how it goes from, there's not really a scene at all to you have all these bars and restaurants popping up over the past 10, 15 years, and how like you're able to turn nothing into something, and how that's just quite an adventure to be through. So is there like anything that you're looking forward to in the future that you kind of see everything kind of going towards?
Yeah, I really welcome new bars into town. Honestly, I think it just makes the scene stronger, and I'm a big believer in a rising tide lifts all ships kind of thing. Mm-hmm. So there's a couple new cocktail bars opening in the city, and I welcome that. I really do. That pushes us to be even better than we even are now. And it's also nice to be able to step out of our own bar and get a good quality cocktail somewhere else. That's always also good. If
you weren't drinking at Unknown Caller, where would you be going in Chattanooga?
Question. Depends what time of day. If we're talking after the shift, we're just a quick beer and a shot, it's either going to be the Pickle Barrel or Hair of the Dog, because they do food till 3 a.m. So that's their kind of post-shift spots. If I've got a full day, I'd be going to Syrup and Eggs for breakfast in the morning. Proof Cocktail Bar has just opened. They opened at a really unfortunate time just before the pandemic. I'd probably head there. And then Whiskey Thief has got a really good program as well. It's a hotel bar on the rooftop of the Edwin. super gorgeous views, especially in the summer. That's probably where I'd go for a cocktail.
Those all sound awesome. When we were in Chattanooga, we tried out this place. I believe it was called Jack Brown's.
Yeah.
That it was one of the best burgers I've ever had in my life, no doubt.
Yeah, I love that place, man. I'm a big fan of that spot. Super big fan. And we just went and had lunch before that. There's a place just opened up next door to that called Lil Mama's. It's like a Chicago hoagie place. It opened up a couple days ago, and we are just so full now. It was awesome. It was so cool.
Hard to beat the food down there.
Yeah, for real. It's filling.
If you guys are drinking at your bar, what is one drink that you would recommend that everybody has to try?
This is a tough one because I do believe that we make a very good old fashioned. However, I don't think that's very representative of us as a bar as far as like the kind of cocktails we like to come up with. Honestly, at this point, there's a cocktail we've had on our menu for quite a long time now. It's called the Jungle Witch. It's a riff on a classic tiki cocktail known as the Jungle Bird. But for the Jungle Witch, we infuse Campari with fresh pineapples. Then we make a cinnamon demerara simple syrup, demerara sugar, a little bit of lime juice, and a little bit of aged rum. And it just creates this incredibly complex and well-balanced cocktail that just checks so many boxes. It's citrusy, it's herbaceous, it's refreshing, it's a little bitter, it's a little sweet. So I think that that's probably pretty indicative of the kind of stuff we like to do. We just like to keep it very simple at its core, but using elevated ingredients and coming up with something nuanced, you know?
We're both sipping Negronis right now. So I feel like the Jungle Witch is a really nice introduction to Campari. It's not that full in-your-face bitterness for the novice. It's kind of got that sweetness from the pineapple. So it's kind of exploratory for some people, but it's a nice start for people that know Campari or something like that.
Okay. And what is a drink you'd recommend if I'm looking for something that might be out of the ordinary?
Like something you can get at any bar?
Or maybe if like you have like a special, or if not that, maybe something that's just like way out there, something that maybe I wouldn't have heard of before.
The way we do our menu is a little different. So we used to do a seasonal flip. So we used to do a spring, summer, autumn, or fall, and winter menus. But with COVID, literally the only cool thing to come out of COVID is the QR code. So we've actually kind of transformed that idea and made it even more seasonal, which allows us to take advantage of the super seasonal ingredients versus trying to figure out, what to order for a 3-4 month period. If say figs are in season, we can do a fig cocktail for the next 2 weeks. So it keeps things really fresh for the guests, and obviously sometimes more importantly ourselves, so we're not going crazy and making the same cocktails.
Right, I like it. I like it.
Right now we're shifting through so much stuff, and we're changing the cocktails. We put a new cocktail out basically every week. The one we just put on yesterday is called Cognac Queen. It's actually Kris's drink. I think it's absolutely awesome. It's a raisin infused cognac, some Montenegro, Luxardo Bitter Bianco, and then a dash of the really nice new Angostura cocoa bitters. Served up, so it's definitely boozy. It's definitely stirred. It's super tasty.
It sounds really good.
Yeah, we're gonna do that next.
Is your I know you guys have the weekly roulette on your menu. Does that change based on the season and like different ingredients per season?
So this is actually one of the things I'm the most proud of at the bar. It's our ballin' on a budget program is what we call it.
Yep.
Essentially, like that is our $5 cocktails, which are available at all times. But the way we do that, we do all of our juicing in-house instead of buying, like sweet and sour mix, all that stuff, fresh lime juice, lemon juice, orange juice. And once we're done with those husks, instead of throwing them away, we find a baseline level spirit and we infuse them with the citrus husks. So we'll grab a vodka that we infuse with the lemons, a rum we infuse with the lime husks, and then like a tequila we infuse with the lime and the orange husks. Then we let it sit for a few days. We sweeten it and balance it to taste, and then we batch it into these little bottled cocktails. And effectively, we're using a byproduct, so we're wasting less, and we're able to cost things out at $5 without taking a huge hit on our margins. Now, with all that being said, the weekly roulette is something that we change weekly depending on what kind of ingredients we've got left over. Or let's say that like we're getting rid of a cocktail, we have X amount of the syrup left, we'll incorporate that into our weekly bartender's choice. So it's a means to help us repurpose ingredients that are on their way out.
Yeah, so for example, what we've got right now is we just told you about the Jungle Witch. We're infusing the Campari with the pineapple chunks. What we've done this week is taken those pineapple chunks out of the Campari. Of course, what that has done is kind of done a reverse infusion. The pineapple has taken on somewhat of a Campari flavor. So we put that through the food processor, added some water and some sugar, and we've kind of got a Campari pineapple pulp. And then what you're going to get in this weekly roulette is kind of like a mini baby Jungle Witch. Definitely not as good because it's not $14, it's $5. But super tasty still. You're gonna enjoy it.
And I actually got one of the old fashioned balling on a budget when I was there, and it's really cool. They're served in like a little like apothecary bottle. It was very interesting.
Yeah, we've definitely seen a few of those walk out the door.
Oh, I'm sure. So do you guys have any like holidays that tend to be more busy in Chattanooga and Unknown Caller specifically?
Oh fuck! What's the Sunday before Labor Day is always a bitch.
That's probably because I always forget to staff up.
It's all we are like because people don't work that Monday, so everybody's out that Sunday, and it feels like a Friday or Saturday night. So that's always crazy. Halloween's always insane.
I feel like there's being in the South and kind of the Appalachian as well. There's a large Scotch-Irish contingent too. So Paddy's Day is also
any drinking holiday, wild. Man. People are just looking to get shitty.
Do you have any personal favorite?
No, I hate them all.
I'm a big Christmas guy. I love Christmas.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's different.
But I don't like Halloween, I've got to say. Halloween tends to bring out the amateur hour.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything we do like? I don't know, man, yeah.
No, as far as those drinking holidays, they can get a little messy.
We did a really cool event last year. We did a Mardi Gras event in late March. I really had fun that night. That was a good one. But of course, we kind of marketed that event individually, and it wasn't like a nationwide. Everyone was off work, so we were able to control the patrons a little better.
Right. So, speaking of amateur hour, do you guys have any interesting stories?
Jesus. Yeah. So literally last week at closing time, everybody.
I was there last week. No, get out.
Yeah. This just last week, and this was on a weeknight. Right. We're about 15 minutes away from being officially closed. Everybody had tabbed out. There's one group left in the whole building, and it's like a family. I'm in the back entering tips, and then I walk out. One of my servers is like, "Hey, so this lady threw up all over the table." So I walk out, and the entire table is covered in vomit. Apparently, it was like the mother of the group. This woman, well into her 50s. She apparently didn't even have much to drink. Had like a cocktail and a shot, but for some reason decided to blow chunks on our table right at the end. And I don't know if you guys knew this, but the booths that we have in this building, we haven't had for very long. Maybe 6 months. They're very new. They were very expensive. Had them custom made. So yeah, that was, my heart stopped. Thankfully, very little got on the booth itself. But yeah, definitely having a clean vomit off a table on a Thursday night was interesting.
A slow Thursday night.
A slower Thursday night too.
A January cold Thursday
for like
night.
A family birthday party too. Not like the situation you would have imagined if I told you that I was wiping barf off a table.
No, not at all.
It's always a good time.
James,
right.
James, do you have any good ones?
I've got just the classic ones, mate. So when we changed names, it confused a lot of people, and people like to ask me about it all the time, and still to this day like to. You can tell it's not my favorite subject. I'm just tired of it after a year. But I oftentimes get the classic owner one where it's like, oh yeah, I know the new owner. And I serve a lot here. So when Joey was in, I was working the door and serving, and I hop behind the bar a little bit. I'm here quite often. So I'm interacting with the guests, and I don't like to tend to tell them like, hey, I'm the owner, by the way. I just kind of blend in. And I get a lot of people saying, yeah, I know the new owner. And I'm like, oh, you do? That's interesting. I've owned the bar since we've opened it, but yeah, I'm sure you do. I get that an awful lot. It's so strange.
Oh, my favorite one are people telling him that his accent is fake.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
But when I was there, you were serving, you were at the bar, bartending, you were doing everything, man. I was very impressed. I didn't even know till I actually went up to the bar and I gave my little spiel, we're the After Hours podcast, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, oh, hey.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I was kind of in the moment right then, but yeah, I'm glad you reached out.
It was impressive. You were everywhere.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, look, you don't open a bar to make tons of money. I mean, you might. I love what we do here, man. I really do. If I'm at home watching, I don't like TV an awful lot. And if I'm at home, I'm either wanting to go out for a drink. So it's probably healthier for me to start making drinks and serving people drinks and drinking myself. I love being here. If I wasn't here, yeah, I don't know what I'd be doing, but it wouldn't be as fun.
Is there anything you wish you have known when you started off your venture?
Yeah, fuck ton. Loads, mate. Firstly, make sure you got a good plumber in your phone book.
Oh, jeez. Yeah.
I don't know what these guys do, but they break plumbing constantly. Plumbing, yeah, just so much, man. It's been a whole learning experience, man. We've made mistake after mistake. We learn from them, man. We try to get better every day, and that's one of the things I'm most proud of Kris and the crew. They're so adaptive, and they try and get better individually outside of this place, and then as a collective when they come through this door as well, they try and get better every day. What I wish to have known.
To somebody that, they're just opening a bar right now, or, they're planning on opening one, just something something you've learned that would help them along the way.
Market. If you're about to open, get the word out way ahead of time. Don't wait till the week you open, try and get the word out. It's got to be a priority. Ideally, you don't want to change your name a year in. You don't want to have to change the logo and the branding. So investing in that, I know it seems a lot up front because to me it did. But hiring professional graphic designers and people that can help you with your website and that kind of stuff. I still believe you can run your own social media because you want to put your own personal twist on it and stuff. But there are companies that can help you with that as well. And it seems a lot of money, but hire professionals. And that goes across the board as well. Initially, when we opened this place, I opened this place on like $80,000. It was like shoestring to the max. And we've kind of gone from there, and I've cut corners for sure because of that reason. We just didn't have the funds to start with. But as time's gone on, hire professionals that know what they're doing. Sometimes good quality workmanship, whether that be your tables or, your wells behind the bar. Hire the best because it's going to make a difference long term as an investment for sure.
And how was the process for coming up with the branding for Unknown Caller?
Stressful. Stressful to go through that name change. Yeah, we went through like a legal process. So we had to change the name legally. We had a cease and desist. We had to go and change it. It wasn't ideal. So it's kind of just at that point now we've been open for a year and our identity as a bar had kind of changed and warped. And I like for our staff to have a large hand in that. I like their personalities to shine through the bar. So when they welcome guests, they feel like they're truly welcome into their own home. I like that a lot. So when we were in business a year and we were thinking of a new identity and again, seeing those sales receipts and seeing that 70% of the guests were still brand new and we were still to this day saying, people asking, I don't even know where that place is. I've never even heard of that place. Unknown just kind of fell into place when we thought about it.
Did you make the logo yourself?
The current one, yeah.
Current one, yes, I did. We've got a design. I was thinking for a second. We've got a secondary design that we use on a lot of stuff as well, which is like a dancing lady. We use that on our coasters and our merch. But the current logo, yeah, I kind of cracked that together. I want it to be very simplistic and the kind of the neon pink. We've got neon lights in the bar, some of them, just to add a little personality, and that kind of fit in with the dark candlelit vibe we've got going on too.
Yeah, and you mentioned social media, so you run all those, James?
Yes. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. I got to be honest, I don't really know what I'm doing on Twitter. I'm kind of old school, I guess. So it just auto posts from Instagram and I leave it at that. But I run those channels for us. And to be honest, I have good fun with it. I really do.
Yeah, I was going to ask, do you take the pictures as well? Because I looked through a lot of the social medias and you guys have very high quality pictures.
No, we initially did. So hopefully if you scrolled all the way through, you can see the glow up, an evolution of social media. Because I was definitely taking pictures of my phone, and actually it was Kris. He pushed me a lot. He's like, you need to invest in a photographer. And I'm so glad that we did. We've worked with 2 local photographers now, one called Rachel Crow and then one called Reed Schick. Both great at what they do. And it comes back to what I was just saying about investing in the best, because they really do just do next level work. There's a reason they're able to charge for their photography, and I can't charge anything.
Gotcha.
There's some really good pictures on here. Some nice looking drinks. A very delicious looking hot dog I see.
Oh yeah.
Well, I was gonna actually mention that the pictures of like the very creative pictures of like Obama, and I can't remember. There's like 4 or 5 of them. Where'd you guys find those?
So yeah, you can know that one. So that's actually it's an Israeli artist. His name is Amit Shimoni. Excuse my pronunciation. I probably screwed that up. But basically, it's a series called Hip Story, and the premise is to imagine world leaders as hipsters. So here at the bar, we've got Gandhi, Winston Churchill, Obama, Nelson Mandela, Einstein, the Dalai Lama, and recently we got Rosa Parks. But I mean, if you go to the artist's website, it's a whole series. He's got plenty of other people he's done. JFK, Lincoln, I think he did RBG, a ton of different figures. Sigmund Freud.
Yeah, he's done some really good ones. The only one that's really bad is Margaret Thatcher. He's made her look like a strung-out crackhead. Honestly, it's so bad. I like all his work, but that one is just bad.
Yeah, they were just very interesting. When you walk in there, just kind of another thing. You sit on your guys' very nice new couches, as you said. You look up and you're like, oh, is that Obama in a tank top?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that for us, it comes back to what we were talking about before. The reason why we chose that particular art is, yes, we're a cocktail bar. Yes, that can be intimidating. We want people to look up and smile and have a laugh and just almost let those waves just melt away from you and become comfortable. It's all about comfortability. And if we can make people kind of laugh before we've even gone to interact with them because they're looking at some silly artwork, they're more open in talking to us about what they like in terms of drink preferences, what they want from the experience, and we can make that happen.
We also recently just installed like a little vending machine at each booth, and we've loaded them with fake tattoos, little toys, slinkies, candy jewelry. We're gonna put some condoms in there too because we know people are taking our bathroom.
It's really fitting with everything else in there, yeah.
We know it's happening in our bathroom, so might as well be safe if you're gonna do it.
There you go.
At least we can provide cultivate a safe experience for them.
Right. You can do the dirty and play with the slinky.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm sending you a picture now so you can see them. They're kind of like toy capsule vending machines. I don't think they were installed actually when you were here. It's something we did just recently.
I really like the thing I like about the portraits though is it's kind of almost symbolization for your guys' place where, it's Obama, very professional, but at the same time he's chill, He's laid back, he's in some comfortable clothing. I like it. It really fits what you guys are going for.
I'm really glad to hear. Thank you so much for that.
Is there a hangover recipe? And if so, what is it?
Hangover recipe? Fuck. I'm kind of basic, mate. I really like mimosas. I really do.
Okay.
That's
Kris, how about you?
That's really basic. But I can't really stomach much else in terms of like flavor on a hangover.
If I happen to be in a state where marijuana is legal, that is always welcome.
Only in the state where it's legal.
Yeah, only
right?
when it's legal. Only where it's legal.
Okay.
Everywhere else, it's just not the same.
Yeah. Like here, it's not legal, so yeah, it just doesn't help my hangover as much here in Tennessee.
Sometimes he's late for his shift because he quickly whips across to Colorado before.
Yeah. quick little 1,000-mile drive.
Right.
800. That's funny.
What do you drink?
No, outside, man, I don't have a real. I just wallow in my misery.
You just got to get back. You just got to get back on it, mate.
Yeah.
That first beer is always helpful, I will say.
That is true. That hair of the dog does kind of work.
I feel like as I've gotten older, it's hard to beat a good Bloody Mary. But I know people are either like they have a love-hate relationship with them. It's either like I'll get them everywhere or I will never touch anything with tomato and alcohol combined.
So funnily enough, man, you're talking to two babies when it comes to tomatoes.
Yeah, dude.
I don't like tomatoes, neither does Kris. So like Bloody Mary's off the menu for me.
I think one of the most painful hangover cures I've heard so far on this podcast, I forgot who it was, but they said that they just run it off. They go on a workout, sweat it all out. I'm like, no way. How do you do that? Like, working out's hard as it is, but on a hangover?
Yeah,
I know exactly who that was. That was actually John Ansa from the Heights. He wakes up. Yep. Yeah. He wakes up. He says he goes on a few-mile run, and he's all good to go. I'm like, you're crazy, but I love the enthusiasm.
He is a much better guy than I am. I used to be able to do that kind of stuff, but not now, man. It's more like Harry Potter on the couch. That's the best hangover watching you can do because you don't even really need to pay attention. You just kind of look back and you're like, oh, magic. That's super good.
Magic, yeah.
Magic, yeah. Cool.
So if going off of Harry Potter, there's ghosts in there. You got nearly headless Nick. Do you have any ghost stories that you'd like to say? Any paranormal activity you guys have encountered recently?
No, but I'm also a grade A chicken shit, so it's not like I'm like out here seeking it out. And if I do have anything that might even be that, I just come up with a bunch of different scenarios as to why it's not that.
So funnily enough, we've got a ghost tour in Chattanooga, and they come behind the bar. Did you see the alley behind the bar, Joey, when you came here?
Yeah, I did actually.
Yeah, there's a huge alley back there, and they come past the alley on their little tour, and there's a stop. And the building we're in is over 100 years old. So I've heard multiple times with, I will say, differing stories as well. They're not always the same. I think she switches up for her own entertainment sometimes. But I've also been in the bar. We've got some Instagram counters and Facebook counters in the bar. So when you like our pages, it changes the number, and it's kind of like these flappy letters. I don't know how better to describe that. And sometimes when I'm in here on my own, I hear it like, and I absolutely shit myself every time it happens. Because I'm like, oh, what is that? What is that? It's so loud as well when you're on your own.
You guys both mentioned a few restaurant and bars you enjoyed in Chattanooga. How about hometown restaurants or bars?
That's hard, man. I haven't been back to my hometown as like a drinking adult. So I'm originally from New York, and I've been back to New York a few times, but I haven't gone back yet to like drink, which I still very much need to do because I mean it's fucking New York.
Right.
So I don't have a good answer for that currently.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm from Nottingham, England. Originally, I've not been home for about a year now. But I kind of claim London in that. I feel like London and New York have got the best cocktail bar scene in the world. Of course, being one of the two biggest cities in the world as well. In London, most recently when I went home, I went to the Savoy, the American bar at the Savoy. I was blown away. Those guys over there are next level. Everything I had was super creative, and just the fluidity of movement of how those bartenders moved and how easy it looked was insane. That is super cool. The Sun Tavern in Bethnal Green is a super cool little bar in London as well. They've actually done the Dead Rabbit pop-up once there before. All those bars are super good. In Nottingham, I've not been back in a while, so it's a lot of movement. But for us, it's the pub. It's any kind of local boozer. We love just going for pints of warm ale and just hanging out with the boys. That's basically it.
Love it. I actually had some roommates from England, and they were from Manchester. But they said the bridge in London, underneath it is always a fun spot to go as well.
Yeah, it's spoiled with talent. London, it's just amazing. It's so good. Last time I went as well, I went to Happiness Forgets. They were doing amazing things. Kalukale is just around the corner from there. So you're talking about world-class bar within the proximity of 200, 300 feet from one another. It's crazy.
So I don't know if you guys already covered this when I had my mic muted, but how did you guys kind of come together with you guys being from two very different areas of the world? I mean, like different continents. Like how did it all come together?
I mean, Chattanooga, I guess, is the short answer. Like I said, I mean, I'd already been here for several years. I spent 2 years abroad. I lived in Florence, Italy, and I actually spent a lot of time at bars over there and befriended several bartenders. And that's kind of where my interest and love for the industry truly began. But yeah, I mean, James and I just happened to meet at a whiskey festival, I want to say 3 years ago now. And he just mentioned that he was going to be opening up a bar. And then I saw the application show up maybe 3 months later, and I applied and got the job and never looked back.
History from there.
Yeah.
History from there.
We talked a little bit about drinks and food. Now, as far as traveling goes, what's one place you guys would recommend that somebody listening to should visit?
Man, honestly, I am so amazed by the cocktail scene in Nashville. Truly. Like, Nashville, like, country music, this and that, Broadway, whatever the fuck. But if you dig a little deeper and go past that, there's actually like a really awesome, thriving cocktail community there. And a lot of bars that are doing some really cool things. You know, you've got Attaboy, which is one of the bars we look up to the most in the world. And there's the Patterson House, which is a staple. Recently, we went to a Cuban-style joint called Never Never that we had an amazing time at. You've got Pearl Diver for like tiki cocktails, a Miami Vice kind of vibe. It's got a thriving cocktail scene for sure. James?
I second that. Are you talking about places to just visit in the US?
Anywhere in the world.
Oh, shit.
Anywhere in the world.
Does that change your answer, Kris?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I mean, obviously Nashville, but I'm going to say Athens and Florence both have awesome fucking energies to them and really cool things happening in their food and beverage scene.
My answer, I guess, I recently, October 2019, I went to watch the Rugby World Cup in Tokyo, and I just had a blast, man. The food aspect there, it's so simple and so casual, yet so elegant at the same time. The street food is so good. You're talking meat on sticks over a coal fire. Sign me the fuck up. That's awesome. You're talking katsu, you're talking dumplings, everything that's tasty, you can get on the side of the street, which is amazing. And then the other side of that is, again, just incredible cocktail bars. Truly incredible. I was lucky enough to go to Bar High Five. Went to Ben Fiddick, which was a super cool bar as well. Star Bar in Ginza. So all the big players. Just to see that the way they work as a Japanese bartender and the way actually the whole bar works was really super interesting. I had a fantastic time. And the people are great too, man. Super cool place.
Did you get a chance to try some Kobe beef?
I didn't actually. I did a lot of sushi and a lot of yakitori, like a ton of yakitori. So I did like chicken liver, chicken skin, chicken feet, chicken everything. I ate a whole chicken, I think. Not at the same time, in different days.
Of course.
And we went actually where the World Cup final was in Yokohama. So it's actually like a suburb of Tokyo. But Tokyo has grown so much recently that Yokohama and Tokyo almost connect. Yokohama's got this awesome Chinatown. So I went twice to Chinatown in Japan, which is silly really, but amazing food there too.
Other than that, what are some thrill-seeking things that you guys have experienced throughout your lives?
Thrill-seeking.
Opening a bar? Does that count?
Normally, yes, because that is very crazy, but also that's what everyone says. So, no.
I've been bungee. I did I think it's the highest like freestanding bungee jump in South Africa. I did that. It was like 212 meters off a bridge. That was terrifying. And I did skydiving as well that same year. And actually, bungee jumping was way scarier.
Is it because like the idea of not having a parachute, or because like you only have like that string wrapped around your foot, or what makes it scarier?
I think it's that classic adage of like, what you don't know can't hurt you. So when you're jumping out of the plane, you can't see the floor that would kill you, right?
Okay.
When you're jumping off a bridge and you can see the rocky river below you and it looks pretty gnarly down there, you're like, oh, that would be the certain end of me for sure. And I think that was the mental flip for me. I was like, I'm jumping off a plane, you can see clouds, nice. And then that bungee jump, you're like, that's pretty close. Hope this rope thing works.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I agree with you there. I've been skydiving. It's like you just look down. It's like, oh, cool air.
Yeah.
And
that free fall is just goes so fast.
Oh yeah. And the only thing kind of scary is when they open up the parachute, then you look down and you're like, oh, it's not air anymore.
Yeah.
And then I remember the guy I was tandem with. He's like, oh, it looks a little tight. Do you want me to loosen up your harness? I'm like, dude, you're crazy. You are crazy.
Yo, I had the exact same thing. Did he ask you to like step on his feet, like stand on my feet and loosen you up? I'm like, what the fuck do you mean, man? We're in the air. Stand on your feet. I'm like, not standing on anything either.
Yeah, I was like, no, I'm good on that. 120%, man.
Dude, I was grabbing onto that guy like he was my mom. Grabbing onto him so tight.
That's hilarious. Bungee jumping, I just always feel like I'm gonna like bounce back up and like hit something or just go crazy and hit the ground. Like that just seems like a whole different level of adrenaline.
Yeah, I'm glad I did both. I can't say that I'm signing up to do a bungee jump again soon. I guess I done the other cool thing I did was the Death Road in Bolivia. There's like a mountain biking tour we did there. That was, I'm not like super comfortable on a bicycle. Like they're fun. I sometimes I'm like, this is kind of scary. I don't like it. So I did this mountain biking thing and it was cool as hell. But it was tight. That road was tight. And the sheer drop down the side was scary for sure.
you don't realize how like slim those mountain bike trails are to go on one. I went on just like a little one with one of my friends going like 10% of his full strength, and I was just like still lagging behind, and I thought I was going to hit every tree. It's not the best.
Oh my goodness, watching those guys sometimes on TV and the stuff they do, like I have no idea the skill set that goes into it. I just respect the hell out of it because it scares me to look at it on the TV.
Yeah, no, those guys are some of the craziest, and they make it look so easy too.
Yeah, so easy, just gliding.
One more question for unknown caller that I like to ask. I'm curious about, where do you guys see yourself being in the future? What's the next game plan for you?
Chrissy, mate, go on.
Oh man, it's so funny. We had a meeting earlier today talking about these things. Man, we really want to, number one, make it through the next few years. Obviously, the pandemic isn't going anywhere yet. We don't have a definitive timeline on that. So it's still about survival in a lot of ways, but just continuing to grow and learn from ourselves. And for me personally, I would like to see us really hone in on that core team that we're going to have for the next several years, you know, developing that team and developing pieces that are going to stay for the longer term, and just fully cementing ourselves as an institution here in town. Those are some of the things that I personally would like to really see in the next few years as the bar continues to grow and develop.
I agree with that. Looking at now where those kind of New York, the bars are and natural bars are, and they've been there for a while, and how they become institutions in their own places and also kind of synonymous with cocktails in whatever place they are. I would like to have cocktails and Chattanooga synonymous with unknown, which is counterintuitive because it's unknown, but whatever. Yeah. I would like, when people think of what they want a cocktail, there's one answer on their lips, and it's us. I'd like to see us here for 10, 15, 20 years. And again, almost in the same way as a pub is there for a long time. We have kind of an old school feel and vibe. So I just want to keep doing what we're doing and keep building on that. And then, be here for the long haul. I
love it. Joe, you got any more questions?
No, I was just going to ask if you guys had any questions for us.
I guess you guys are industry as well?
So we actually are partners in a software company called Winhouse Software. So what we do is we build full stack custom software solutions. That includes anything from mobile applications, web development, anything along those lines. And then we also help like entrepreneurs take their idea from validation, like their idea phase, all the way up to development and funding and beyond.
Yeah, and so one of our app ideas that we had an internal project called Bar Crawl, where basically, I mean, it is what it sounds like. It's an app for bar crawls, for scheduling it, for seeing what bar crawls are going on in the area, and also for seeing like, you know, what local bars are available, like what their menus are, all that stuff.
And like from a actual like local perspective of what the best bars are, because we found a lot of the places, a lot of the reviews online don't really give you a good like look into that.
Yeah, and then COVID happened, so we took a pause on that guy. But so one of the reasons why I wanted to start up After Hours was because we wanted to see, what's it like to run things from your guys' point of view, and how it all works from the inside, and see how, like what it takes to run a bar and everything. And plus just get familiar with the industry, see how everything's going down and everything.
Oh yeah, and you guys, you've been doing it for a couple of years now?
First year.
Well, yeah, so we have, this is about our 45th episode total, 46. And we've been releasing about one every week for the past, I don't know, like 7 months. And then at the beginning, it was every 2-3 weeks. So our first podcast was recorded, I believe, like
April 20th.
Well, that was when our first one.
The first release was on April 20th, but
our first one recorded was about October, November-ish last year.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. You guys, have you always been interested in cocktails specifically, or you guys just like drinking in general?
I definitely.
Yes. Yeah. Do you guys have any final thought or anything you'd like to say? Any final words of advice?
Or shout out your social medias before that too.
Shout out social medias. It's all at Unknown Caller Bar. Unknown Caller Bar, BAR. Please follow us. I guess, if you're ever in Chattanooga, guys, whoever's listening out there, you come see our city. It's definitely growing. It's not perfect by any means, but it's getting there. It's pretty cool little spot, and If you need cocktails, you know where to come. We'll definitely take care of you.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate it.
All right, After Hours Nation, we hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you'd like to stay updated, you can check out our site at afterhourscast.com. Don't forget to tune in next Tuesday morning for our next episode. After Hours Nation, stay thirsty, my friends.